predictions and approaches in a business bachelor's degree curriculum development. And so please go right ahead. And I have started the recording.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the presentation. We are going to first start out by sharing some demographics about our students in the program. So is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So the Bachelor's in Business Administration and Management was in the fall of 2024. So we're very excited about that. And to show you just a picture here, this is an activity that we had, an event that we had right in December, towards the end of the semester. And this is one of our very first cohorts that was very excited to be present. They came and we had dinner together. We had a presentation by the American College of Healthcare Executives. And then we had a local branch of a bank that came over and brought them some goodies as well. So it was a wonderful event. And here you see just the people participating in this presentation today: Dr. Andrea Bush, Michael Fernandez. We've got Miss Tanya Jefferson is out ill today. Please keep her in your prayers. And then Sheila Woods, our accounting instructor, is also present to answer some questions today. Myself and Michael Smith. So we are the instructors teaching in the course. As of today, we've got 105 Bachelor's of Business Administration and Management students enrolled. And as you can see here from the chart, the demographic breakdown of their ethnicity is that we have approximately about 45% Hispanic students, about 41% are white, about 15% Black students, and then Asians and the Hawaiian Pacific goes down to those lower numbers. But that's the breakdown of our student population. Where do these students live? So our bachelor's degree students are primarily living in Alvin, as you can see, about 48% of them. The next larger population lives in Houston. They have Houston addresses, and then Pearland is next. And as you can see from the slide, they are all over the place. So we're reaching students in a lot of different areas throughout this region. Our students are predominantly 77% female, and the rest are male students. So we've got some work to do in reaching more of our male students, but we're very proud of what we've done so far. And surprisingly, I think I was surprised, and I think our faculty are as well, that a great number of our students, almost nearly half of them, are between the ages of 18 to 25. So that was wonderful, because at the beginning, when we were designing this program, we thought we'd have a older population that would enroll in these types of programs. But we're very glad to see that a lot of the students finishing high school and those that maybe started college and the program is designed to allow students in that have finished their associate's degree. So we're getting those students. That student population is entering into our program, and we're very glad that that's the reception we're getting. And the other almost 40% of our students is between the ages of 26 to 35. And then you see the decline going down to 36 to 45. And we do have one student above the age of 56. All right, so we're going to do a round robin panel participation of questions that I'm going to go through. And then if anybody has questions, we'll ask that you put those in the chat box, and we'll address those at the end. Okay, so I'll start out with the first question. So with the first question, I'm going to start out with Professor Michael Fernandez. Professor Fernandez, will you tell us how it's gone for you so far in teaching students in your upper division courses?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Joe. I would say a couple things. One is I've only had one class that I taught, and I have one coming up here in the spring too, so I look forward to that very much. But just engaging, teaching the students at that point. It's kind of like I teach a lot of evening classes in our supply chain program, and the students in those evening classes are very engaging. Most of them, a lot of some experience. They've been doing some different things. So in the upper level courses, it's been pretty good. It's really similar that the students have more experience either in the work environment, things like that already. So they bring that to the classroom as well, and their learnings, and they're able to share that with myself, but also share that with the teams that they break up into and they work with. So it's been a great experience. The students seem to be stepping up to that next level of expectation that I think we have as a bachelor's instructors and what we're looking at doing. You can see the growth, the quick growth, even coming from the different, like I said, they're coming from different backgrounds with their associate's degrees and things like that. And you can see this, the quick growth of where they're moving into that direction. So it's really been good experience.
Okay, great. Dr. Bush, will you tell us a little bit about how it's gone for you in teaching these upper level courses?
Sure. So really enjoying it. Our students are coming in again with a lot of good information, a lot of enthusiasm for most of them. There's obviously a varied population as you get into quite a few new students coming in. There's definitely a learning curve as we really work for a higher level of professionalism to really make that impact, to have an end result of really quality business professionals. And so there's that piece of, it's a big difference coming in from with the background and associates as we move them into producing managers, people who have professional writing skills, professional presentation skills, and things like that. So there's a learning curve for a lot of them as they move into this next level.
Excellent. Thank you for that observation. And Sheila, will you tell us about your experience?
Yes, so I am actually teaching my first class right now, as we speak, and it's been a great experience so far. The other professors that have had the students before me have prepared them well to come into my class. They're very active. They ask a lot of questions. They truly engage, and I like the way they push each other when they're working within their groups. There are really a lot of natural born leaders in the class, and they're very good at organization. They are pushing their teammates to think higher, use their critical thinking skills, which I think is very important. A lot of them, those that are working, they really want to know how the information translates into the industry that they're currently in. And those that are not working, they have an expectation to be in certain industries. So they want to know now, how does this translate to a welding industry? Because that's where I got my associate's degree. So how can I translate this as a manager in welding? They really want to take that deep dive. So we focus hard on analysis and the application portion of it. And so it's been a really good experience so far.
Thank you, Sheila. And Michael Smith, you'll have the pleasure of teaching in the upper level division courses in the summer. So you haven't had that experience quite yet, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Okay. I'll share a little bit about my experience. I've taught the operations management class along with Professor Fernandez. We've got several sections of that, and it's been a wonderful experience. I kind of piggyback off of everyone here. The students are well prepared. They come anxious to learn and to apply what they're learning, not just to, read a textbook or a chapter, but they want to know how it's going to apply to their field of knowledge, where they're going to go apply this in the workplace. And many of our students are professionals already. And so they're doing this to, go up that ladder to be able to accelerate their degrees and I mean, their careers and get a better paying position, get promotions on their job. So that's exciting to be part of that. All right, our next question is, tell us what bachelor's degree courses you have developed and explain any cutting edge learning methodologies that you designed into the coursework. So we'll start again with Professor Fernandez.
Okay, so I was responsible for doing two of the courses, creating and I both instructing both those courses. One is the managerial operations class, and one is the leadership and operations management. In the management operations class, it was kind of when we first started the program, we thought it was one of the first couple classes that that students would be coming into. So I felt like at that point it was important, since they'd have many different backgrounds, to kind of really identify with them what operations management is. A lot of them would come in and not have a clue. So I thought early on in that class that we would create it like more theory up front in the first 4 weeks, 8-week class. The first 4 weeks, we have a little more theory, some engagement activities, stuff like that. And then after the weeks 3 through 7, we actually move into a team environment and we participate in a simulation. So there's a simulation of actual work environment that they're working through, and then they have to work with their teams. They have to make different decisions in that. So I would say that would be the newer technology, kind of using the teams to do the simulation, operations management piece of it. They make decisions based on how much product to make, how much inventory to hold, how many manufacturing facilities to build, where to build them at, how many sales offices to have. So a whole operations management scheme and background in that. So that's kind of what that is. The leadership and operations management course, taking a little bit different look at that one. In the operations management, we also had a textbook. The leadership and operations management, we do not have a textbook. It's more going to be case study formatted. So the students are progressively doing things that are in the real world, and the case studies begin probably a little bit less intense, and they move later into the semester a little more intense, showing the expectation of what they are, and they continue growing. But also because as we get into the later weeks of the semester, those case studies will encompass more of what was covered early on as well, to tie it into what we're going over at those later weeks in the semester as well. I think that brings on an operations piece of it, the simulation. There's a lot of kind of gamification because they're competing against one another. They're competing against one another for scoring. Their grade will be representative of how well they did and what they do. And they always get that challenge. And I think we found that, and Dr. Joe may be able to talk to you as well a little bit on it, is that they see that challenge, and students love that. They love that competing against one another. And so they kind of see that piece of it. So I think those are the main pieces on how we develop those courses and what they're looking like.
Excellent. Thank you, Professor Fernandez. Dr. Bush, which courses did you develop, and what cutting edge learning methodology did you design into the coursework?
The first one was the introduction to creativity and innovation. And designing this, really wanted to do theory, of course, the background. How do you do those basic things, the brainstorming, the building of ideas, the coordination to logistics. But then I wanted to do much more of a hands-on. I want them to do creativity, not just read theory about it. So this one is intensive in group work, where you really need each other to build those skills up, design things that actually do not exist. And so they work through 2 different team formats on with one being based in a service type industry and one being based as a product that would be for a nonprofit or social innovation type of thing. So it really opens the ideas, gets them out of just generating typical answers that might come back, and some of the work holistically has been pretty amazing what they've come up with. And then they work on the presentation skills as well, to actually explain and demonstrate, and they get feedback from the other students. And that is a core piece. And it is for many of them, that's their first class. So it helps to set them up with a lot of things, the critical thinking, the design processes, they're working together, and things like that. And the second one was introduction to cultural competence, where they're taking a deep dive into culture, and we literally go around the world, choosing different areas. We choose by regions, and then they choose an area to really dig into. Everything from lifestyles, cost of living. What would it be like to work with those people internationally if they were here with us, if you were doing a global type of business idea? Or what would it be like if you worked for a global company and you went to that country? So they take those and they do these reports and they present on them, and then they respond to each other's presentations, which gives them a very broad look at a lot of areas. And then at the same time, they're allowed to focus on those things that are the most interesting to them. So that one has actually been this is the finishing up the first semester on that one, and it has been a lot of fun, and they have enjoyed that opportunity, and it really has opened eyes to a bigger world.
Thank you, Dr. Bush. I do want to mention that these particular courses came specifically from when we talked to one of our advisory committees in business that wanted to see more culture, innovation, and creativity within, the student practice as they were graduating from these programs. So we don't put together a bachelor's degree that's just going to put students to take a test and pass the test. Please help them think, help them to be creative, help them to use, and then to be culturally diverse in their thinking, and teach them to be innovative, give them opportunities to do that. And that was a direct response to that. So excellent job. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Bush. Sheila, can you tell us what courses you've designed and how you incorporated learning methodologies into your coursework?
Okay, so the first course I was responsible for was accounting for managers. So this is the first 8-week session we're doing it. But when designing this course, we focus heavily on the analysis, so not the mechanics of accounting, but how a manager can take the data that is produced by the accounting department and analyze that data to make sound and efficient business decisions. So the students are constantly applying their knowledge to make those data-driven decisions across different industries. And so we are focusing more on industries that are more familiar to them. Because when you use industries that are familiar to them, and when I say familiar, like retail, everybody has to go to the store, everybody has to go to the grocery store, they like to go out to eat, restaurants, things like that. So we're focusing on industries such as those that they're familiar with from their day-to-day activity to do the analysis and make those data-driven financial decisions. And so each week, the students are introduced to a different way to analyze that financial data, apply it. They're doing scorecards, KPIs, ratio analysis. They're doing capital investment analysis, determining internal rate of returns, which option is better versus the next in small groups. And they do a different one every week. So by the time they finish, they have a portfolio of financial analysis tools that they can use. And then the second course, it's the Human Resources and Labor Law course. We're actually going to do a lot of AI driven things in there because AI is kind of dominating the HR space. They're using a lot of chatbots to help them develop policies within companies, as well as determining good discipline policies. So we'll deep dive into remote work. They'll do some HR policies based on different scenarios that are provided to them. So the students will get a very well-rounded real world application and collaborate with each other to do hiring plans, corporate policy drafts, and performance management frameworks as well.
Professor Woods, I've got to give you some kudos. I had a student reach out to me just recently that said that they were enjoying your class so much that you made it fun for them and it was easy because, and they meant easy, not in that it was not a lot of work, it was a lot of work, but that because of the team approach that you've taken to it, they've always had a difficulty understanding mathematics. And they said this made a different picture to mathematics because now I can collaborate and we all together are working out how to solve problems. I think that's with that accounting class. Thank you for that. Mike Smith, will you tell us what courses you designed and what kind of methodologies you're using in those courses? You're muted, Mike.
Okay, yeah, kind of about what everybody touched on a bit earlier. I know with Mike, he was saying the competition aspect is really important. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of make it fun, you know, how like Sheila's student said, and make them like competitive too. So what I was going to do originally with the project management class was I was going to try to incorporate some kind of Microsoft project so they could learn it and then they could compete against each other using that kind of stuff. But we don't have project here for the students. We have Planner, and Planner is not very good. I don't know if you've ever used it. So it was just, we weren't be able to captivate that level of learning that we wanted to by using Planner. So I actually found a private company that makes game simulations called GoVenture, and they're awesome and they make it really fun. So they have several of them, but one of them is for project management, and you can learn how to be a project manager. And there's a service-based one, Andrea, and a product-based one, right? So they can do one of each. The service-based one is like a travel agency, and then the product-based one is like a power bar. They're marketing a power bar or something like that. So I'm pretty excited to launch that, and that kind of when I started looking at the GoVenture, I said, well, hey, look, they have something for CEO CEO management. So I was like, well, they have where you can devise a mission plan and see how the mission statement and SWOT analysis will align to your overall financial records. And they are all group centered, so they compete as teams. So that was my big thing, was I wanted to make it fun, but at the same time, I wanted to give them some kind of aspect of competition.
Thank you so much, Mike. I am so excited for all of our courses because we've got a wide range of project-based learning. We've got some collaborative learning going on. We've got these simulations with gamification and students competing with one another. It's just differentiated instruction that's providing different experiences for our students. And I think that these active learning skills that our students are applying in each and every one of these classes is really going to be beneficial to them. All right, our third question is, I'm going to start with Professor Fernandez, is as instructor in the bachelor's program, what soft skills did you focus on for the courses that you designed, and why did you pick these skills as important to the particular courses you were designing?
Okay, I think it's communication, teamwork, just simply because that's just such a big piece out there. And the more that we've moved to this online environment or hybrid environment where people are working remotely and things more often, things like that. Communication is one of the biggest things that we need to try to address and try to work on. My background comes in through conflict, so I kind of think about that when I work on these things and how conflict interacts and what causes some disruptions in communication working together. So, as an example, we have in the operations management course the simulation they do. They also have to report out to the board of their company. So they have to put a presentation together. And that presentation, since it's an online program, of course, it's a virtual video presentation. So each of the team members have to participate in this presentation that they do. It's recorded. They show their presentation, their PowerPoint that they're doing, and each of the team members have to be present in that presentation and shown the whole time. So again, you can kind of just see their reactions. They can make sure they're doing their reactions to one another, how they're responding to each other as they're participating and things like that. So I think that's one of the biggest drivers we have in the soft skills that we've developed into the course.
Thank you. Dr. Bush, same question for you.
And I'm going to second that professional, that working together, the teamwork, this is so important, and being able to give good feedback to each other, not simplistic feedback, and work on that as well. One of the things that I've kind of taken off again with that visual concept that we have using remote work and doing it as an online courses, professionalism. So how do you look when you present, the clothing you're wearing, not wearing the ball caps when you're doing a meeting, lighting, presence, what's in your background, what is the noise? So those kind of things that are really important as they work into a business world that's going to have a lot of these online meetings has become one of the focuses, as well as the presentation skills. So again, when you're doing that distance, it's even more important to have the visuals that you do need to be relevant, and they need to be professionally done and skilled. So we work a lot in those things.
Excellent. Thank you. Sheila, how about for your pluses?
Same with communication and teamwork. So I will keep repeating that. I will add, in addition to that, the problem solving skills when you are presented with a business problem. Using those problem solving skills, those critical thinking skills to come to an effective solution to that business problem. So they're constantly challenged in that area. And time management is also a key soft skill for them. Their organization and their ability to prioritize tasks are essential in a teamwork environment or even individually. And they're challenged from a time perspective because they only have so much time. You have all 8-week classes, so they only have so much time to get things done. I know in my accounting class specifically, everything is due every week. There's something different due. So you have to learn how to look ahead, anticipate what is going on in my life to make sure that I can kind of balance schoolwork or whatever is happening at home. So that time management piece is very important for the students, in addition to the problem solving and critical thinking.
Thank you. And Mike. You're muted, Mike.
I'm gonna just not mute myself anymore. Okay, pretty much what everybody else said as far as the communication skills, the leadership skills, critical thinking. We are using the Harvard business cases to employ a systematic, actual problem-solving approach to how we're going to tackle the cases. So I think that's going to be outlined for the students. It will give them some kind of methodology they can use that they can fall back on. One other thing is too that I know we mentioned communication, but written communication too. When they submit all their assignments, are they grammatically correct? Are they using the right punctuation? Are they using semicolons? Are they using the right spelling? Things like that. Because a lot of times that gets slept on, even in emails. Like, I hate being the person to correct a text message for somebody, but that's just my. But anyway, yeah, I want to focus on everything that they present to me or submit to me will be grammatically correct.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, we've mentioned communication and critical thinking and teamwork, problem solving. What I point out, well, I'm going to point out a couple of things that I've noticed in the operations management class in working in simulations and doing that kind of competitive kind of environment when the students are practicing that. What I've noticed that they have a lot of negotiations to do because some of them have in the team, they have certain ideas. Some team members have certain ideas of how to move forward within the simulation, and other team members have different ideas of how they should move forward. So, it's basically like playing a game and they're saying, no, we should go this route. And another one says, no, I should go the other way. And so persuasion plays into, a role in this too. So critical thinking, persuasion, negotiation. And so, and finally, I want to say leadership. I think we're all developing leaders here because the students really have to step up and give each other direction on what's going to be the best alternative for them to create a successful resolution to a business problem. So excellent. All right, we'll come to the fourth question, Professor Fernandez. What have you done well so far, according to you've done so far? Because right now we are piloting these courses in this program as well, right? We're beta testing. So as far as, we've only done a semester and 8 weeks. So what do you think you've done well? And can you describe any areas that you think you might improve in the next coming sessions?
What have we done well? I think as a team really coming together, we talked about how we should develop the courses, how we were going to, what we're going to do to kind of keep them aligned with one another and then focus on things that maybe my course didn't have time or didn't have the piece to do it with. Maybe Sheila's or Andrea's piece did, so they were able to kind of encompass that so we can actually grow the students in a very good way. Myself, just maybe as we talk to the students a little bit more about organization and engagement, things like that. I know we talked a little bit here that we were at what kind of virtual meetings we could have and things like that. And I know that now that understand we can, so look to do more of those. I think that's important. That kind of keeps that going. And we know we won't get every student involved, but like with the pictures Mary showed you on the little event we had a lot of students come in, and we have a lot of students that want to talk, they want to stay engaged and things like that. So I think adding some things like that to it a little bit more. And then I'm actually looking at some virtual reality type things for some of my other programs and other courses and things like that. And basically where they are is the students can actually sit in a room and with a meeting room, and they can have either people on their team or just simulated people, and they can come up, discuss different ideas or having different issues. So looking into maybe we can add some virtual reality type stuff into the different programs or some of my courses that I'm looking at. AI a little more. Sheila talked about it just a little bit. I do that a little bit more in the second course, the leadership course. Basically, one of the assignments is based on AI. There's something that they have to do, and they have to write it themselves and then digest it into AI and see what the outcome is, and then discuss what the difference is, why they feel it came out that way, or what it was. And maybe theirs was more on point than what AI gave them. Things like that. To understand what AI is. It's a tool. It's not a solve all. It's not to do all my work, but it's a tool to use to make us more efficient and be clear in that communication and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Professor Fernandez, I think that in the near future, we'll start to hear employers say they want our graduates to have AI experience, at least a preliminary type of experience that students can be familiar with when they enter their workforce.
Right.
Dr. Bush, how about yourself? What have you done well, and describe any areas that you feel you might improve in the near future?
I think the biggest, again, the layouts are good. I think we worked well together on those. I don't want to redo a lot of our things, but it has been a real coordination process for all of us. The one thing that I do, to me, a class really takes 3 rounds to meet perfection. The first round, we're going to run it. And what I would do is, as students had questions that needed clarification, I generally would answer everybody in an announcements, meaning that was a great question. So I send out updates to everyone for anything that might have not been perfectly clear on a first round, things like that. I welcome the questions. They know I welcome questions. That helps us clarify. Each of those announcement pieces goes into the content, which makes it more clear for round 2. After that second class is done, any little remaining questions or parts that need to be clarified get done. Usually by the time the third time a course is offered, it's super clear, everything rolls correctly. So I take all that feedback that I ask for feedback. They have, of course, the course evaluations that come back, but then I also ask them specifically, what were your favorite pieces and why? What did you dislike and why? What are your suggestions? To me, I openly ask and want those to come in, and those things go into the development as it progresses through those first 3 8-week terms. And and so that's really it's a process, but it works well if you continually work on it throughout those time frames, and it becomes very concise, very clear for everyone.
Thank you. And Sheila, what would you do differently? What have you done well in the course you're teaching now?
Let's see. I'm in the first course, so I think everything's great, of course, until I get feedback from the students on things we can improve. I'm similar to Dr. Bush. I do like to ask for consistent feedback from students because I am always looking for ways to improve. What I think is great in my head doesn't always translate that way when you put it in the course until the students start going through the process. So I am looking forward to that feedback from the students on things we can do differently. I do like that the course does implement data-driven uh, teaching strategies for students, how to take the data and make decisions on it. And I know we are going to shift to a more entrepreneurial focus. So I do want to strengthen opportunities for students to engage with small businesses and then do more design thinking because business owners do. They have to do more design thinking. How do I design my business? What are the processes that they need to have in place for not only themselves, but any employees that they may employ in the future? So as far as looking forward, that's something that I'd like to probably implement. Not right now, but maybe in the next cycle. Of course, it's 25-26 school year.
Great, thank you. And Mike, I know you have not taught a class yet because you'll be doing that launching in the summertime. So the question does not apply to you. I would answer maybe just one idea that I had. I was reading this book about powerful teaching, and it uses a skill set called interweaving. And in some of our courses, we've got where we test chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 of the textbook readings. This is separate from the project students are working, but like weekly quizzes that students are being expected to complete. The interweaving is just a strategy, a learning strategy to help students apply what they learned in their previous weeks in the current week. So instead of testing just chapter 1, chapter 2, and then the student doesn't see chapter 1 again until the end of the course, interweaving would bring in some of chapter 1 into chapter 2, and then chapter 2 chapter 2, 1 and 2 fall into chapter 3 as well. That week when they're being tested for chapter 3, they'd see 1 or 2 questions from chapter 1 as well. And it's just very low stakes, but it helps the student to keep their mind that, what did you learn in week 1? What did you learn in week 2? And it's following them as they're moving through the course instead of just, that they did week 1, they left chapter 1 behind and they don't see it again until week 8 in their final exam or whatever. So that's one skill set that I thought about for maybe one of the courses that I would teach or maybe want to improve in the near future. So the next question was going to be what's next post beta testing the curriculum. And I think right now it's kind of early for us to say anything of what is next post beta testing because we are still beta testing. We're not done beta testing. Mike Smith still hasn't even taught the courses that he's worked on. So at the end of the summertime, I think is when we will have completed all the classes. And then as faculty, we'll come together and do an evaluation of all of kind of sort of like what we're doing now, is we found, discuss our ideas, what we've done well, what we want to improve, and then maybe start the discussion about post beta testing and what improvements we think we can initiate at that point in time. But as far as right now, I think it's too early to say. The last question that we're going to talk about a little bit, if anybody on the panel wants to take a shot at this question, how will interdisciplinary approaches play a role in our bachelor's program? Has anybody thought about that? Interdisciplinary approaches. I'll open the floor to anybody that would like to speak.
Well, it will allow us to offer more specialized paths for the students, more certifications that they can get. So not only are they getting that broad business education, how to manage, how to think strategically, how, the culture aspect of things, but working and with a cross-disciplinary approach would allow for them to apply that to a specialized path. Um, Whatever that path may be for them. So working with communications or working with psychology department, whomever it is. But you can kind of, and you were talking about weaving all of the information together. You can definitely weave the other disciplines into the business area because let's face it, business touches every industry. Every
Mhm.
industry. I don't care if it's healthcare, welding, process tech, it doesn't matter. You still
Retail, everything.
Retail doesn't matter. You need an accountant, you need a manager, you need a payroll person, you need business. It touches
Business.
everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'll piggyback that a little bit. When I go to conferences and talk to a lot of industry people, senior level people, what they're looking for, even consultant type people, what they're looking for in industry, they're looking for people that have operation management, things like that. But they're also looking for people that have a specific skill, maybe even like we have some, like she had mentioned welding earlier in the program, things like that. But people that actually have that hands-on, so they know what when they're running an operations or a business management piece of it, they really understand better what's happening with the things that they're addressing. If it's out in the field, if it's a warehousing or financing, whatever they're doing, they have a better understanding what that is. So I think that's going to play a really good important role in being able to our students to be able to be I guess have that extra tick on their box so they can show what they have. They have these skills, not just an operations management bachelor's degree. And it kind of helps because we have them coming in from the different associates programs. I know I have a couple of students that are in the program now from the supply chain. I have a couple of students that are in the program that are taking a supply chain certification. So they're kind of, building that upon that, so they'll have that efficiency in there.
Excellent. Thank you, Professor Fernandez. I want to mention very quickly because I think one of you brought up specializations, and then uh, Dean Moore posted Spanish for business or advanced technical writing as a focus for interdisciplinary approaches in the future for the bachelor's program. We are working on a specialization in nonprofit leadership and also a specialization in entrepreneurship that we want to incorporate into the bachelor's program. Spanish for business is something that I've thought about since we even initiated talking about the bachelor's program, because I know, we serve a huge Spanish population, and international business is always looking for Spanish speakers in the business field. And so Spanish for business specialization, I think, would be a wonderful idea and a great addition. I would fully support that for us to implement something like that. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for questions if anyone has any other questions, and we'll answer those as best that we can. Okay, so being that there are no questions, I'm
Well,
going to go.
Mary,
Yeah,
Mary, I know Thomas
Tom
had a
actually
question
had,
earlier. Yeah.
yeah. Michael, do you want to address who was addressing it before? It was a question about
TDCJ.
the business degree in TDCJ.
Yeah, I said next year, spring. That's what we're shooting for right now. I know they ask me too, Thomas, all the time. Mary, that sound about right to you too? I think
Yeah.
because they're changing a lot of stuff at TDCJ. Right now we're under RPD, and starting next semester we're going to be under Wyndham again, and that's going to change a lot of the logistics of things and how we like get programs approved and stuff like that. Maybe just who we go to get the programs approved, but they kind of set us back a little bit. So we're looking. I'm thinking a good thing to tell them would be spring of 2026.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I haven't heard spring. I heard fall of 26. So maybe spring. I know right now, because we're initiating these specializations in entrepreneurship and nonprofit leadership. That's going to be another thing that we've got to tackle in the fall. to implement those as well. And we're looking to do those at TDCJ as well. So that's another thing that we've got to work on. And so hopefully we can get it by spring. I think that'll be a quick turnaround and we can do it by spring.
Yeah, I mean, the programs are existing, so I think it wouldn't be too much. It's not like we have to go through a whole like new program or anything. So I mean, I think a lot of the holdup we had before was with TDCJ itself, because we had the PEP, the Prison Education Program, and that was so we weren't able to actually apply for any new programs for up until I think up until this end of the spring right now. So I don't think it would be too hard to do it, would it?
Okay.
Once we
Gotta touch base with Shakoa. I think
yeah.
it should be spring or fall of 26.
Maybe tell them fall instead of spring, just to be safe.
I'd rather say fall. That way, if we don't do it in the spring, they won't be unhappy. They'll be like, there was a delay and we'll do it in the fall. All right. Well, Leanne, I think we are done with the presentation.
All right. Well, thank you all for your presentation. It was incredibly interesting. I think it's a really great opportunity for our students, and I think it'll bring even more students here. We have a lot to offer them with this particular program. And thank y'all for coming. And that's it. I will stop the recording.